I said y'all because I'm in Texas, but we say y'all in Florida too. I love you too. Okay. I'm going to paint a picture for you, all right? This morning, 128 million Americans woke up to an alarm clock, got dressed, got in their cars. Maybe they were lucky enough to work from home. If you live in Houston, I have learned, or Dallas, or San Antonio, there's some extreme traffic. Sat an hour, maybe an hour and a half of traffic to get to your job. Maybe if you're lucky, get a 45-minute to an hour lunch break. Beg off for your 2 weeks of vacation a year, right? You have to trade off. My friend Maria Springer is here. Her husband can't be here because he works at the car dealership and has for years and doesn't get Saturdays off. He's done that for decades. That's the average person. Now, I don't want to negate the importance of having a job or being an employee. My husband flew in this morning at 6 a.m. He got on the plane in Jacksonville. The plane was diverted to New Orleans because they didn't have enough gas. I'm thankful for the employees who work on the airline that made sure his plane had gas so that he was able to get here to us. Right now, there's someone cleaning our room. There's someone cleaning my room right now. It's important to have employees. Okay? But I don't believe that that's why you're here. I want to ask you guys a question. Have any of you in here ever lost your main source of income? I would like you to raise your hand, and I want you to think about it for a minute. If at any point in your entire life you lost suddenly your main source of income, I'm going to pause for a moment because I want you to remember what it felt like. It happened to me twice. The fear, the uncertainty, right? What are some of the questions that go through your mind? Will I get another job? How long will it take? How much will I make? How far will I have to drive? Can I stay here where I'm living now? How much money do I have saved up to make it through the transition? First time it happened to me, we were living in Gainesville, Florida. It was 2005. We had a baby. My Matthew was a baby. And Javier was going through a transition of trying to start his own business. So I was the main breadwinner. And thankfully, I was actually given the option to continue working where I was working, but my entire work day would change. He wanted to add on a number of hours to my work day and cut my pay, and he said, you can either do that or leave. And I was like, I'm leaving. And the first thing I did was I called a guy who offered me a job 2 years earlier, and I was very blessed in that he said, when can you start? So the worry was there for a hot second, and then we sold our house and moved to Jacksonville. Happened again to me in 2009. That one was much more of a shocker. Teresa Gonzalez is here in the audience. She was there working with me. There were 40 employees laid off over a 3-month period of time because the doctor we worked for decided that he wanted to close his practice down, one of the busiest practices in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, and go to do his fellowship training. 40 people lost work in 3 months. This was in the spring of 2009. Does anybody remember the spring of 2009? Can you think about your finances in the spring of 2009? So again, Javier was in a transition of starting his own business, and I was the main breadwinner, and this time it was scary. Because now we had 2 babies and a mortgage payment, and I began looking. And the best offer I got was half of what I'd been making. And I would have to drive an hour each way with no chance of bonus for over a year. I refused at that moment. I said, never again will I let a boss decide whether or not my mortgage gets paid. Never again. It happened to me twice. And I hope that me telling you this story today, if it's never happened to you, if you're not one of those people who raise your hands and says, yes, that's happened to me, That's happened to my spouse. That's happened to our household. I'm thankful that that's not happened to you. I hope it never does. But I'm here today to talk about the importance of having an additional stream of income. Okay, would you guys say that it's foolish or wise to have multiple streams of income? I think we all agree on that, right? So what is it going to be? What's the additional stream of income going to be? We're all in this room, right? We all know what the answer is, but I'm going to walk you through it because I'm talking to you through a prospect's eyes, right? And the validity of what we have going on here. How many of you started a business and failed? I'm not talking about network marketing, a business and failed. Raise your hands, okay? 96% of them that start are no longer in business 10 years later. Okay, so let's just say you say, forget the odds. I've had this dream my whole life, I'm gonna do it. That you're like, I got this dream, I'm gonna do it. I've heard the odds, I know they're against me, I'm gonna do it anyways. Okay. Let's say that you decide you're gonna go do a franchise. I started thinking about that. All right, who do I know that has started a franchise? I know quite a few people who've started franchises, so I reached out to one this morning. This is good stuff, y'all. Let me just tell you what happened this morning. God is good, is all I gotta say. I reached out to this person, and I was like, I think there's a lot of paperwork and disclaimers you have to sign when starting a franchise. Am I right? I'm gonna read you these texts. I'm gonna read you, texting back and forth, all right? Days, hours of pages and paperwork. Had to be done in 10 steps. She started her franchise 4 years ago. Could not move to the next step without being signed off on the previous one. If we missed a step, he would take our franchise away at any time. Disclaimer at the end of each step. 2 trainings, mandatory. First training was 2 weeks. It included a weekend. You had to stay there over the weekend, even if there was no training going on. And it was all day long. She had to pay all of her expenses. Second training, 1 week with a mentor. The mentor made me go to another state when I could have easily gone to a mentor closer. All expenses were on me. Then they put you in a mentor training program, which they said was 6 months, but it actually changed to 12 months. However, if you can't do everything they request, they will fine you $500 to $1,000 per incident. And nothing has been easy, as they said it would be. The first year I worked 8 to 10-hour days. I still do sometimes. I finally just had to start backing off to take care of my family. I have no time for myself. My self-time I spend working Pure because I find it uplifting. I cannot even call them. I have to email them, and it can take days for them to email me back, if they even do. No, we have not made our investment back. Many months, my Pure payment has been keeping my franchise going. So I could have had a nice little spending money from Pure for a trip or something, but it ends up supporting my franchise. Pure is always trying to help everyone. They don't lie to anyone. They're trying to help the customers and the IBOs. My poor husband and boys have suffered from it. And I'm tearful because when I met her, her children were the age of my boys now. And she was homeschooling them. And they had a home-cooked dinner every night. Now they eat dinners in the franchise. And I'm thinking of another friend that I have in the audience, Kristen Hendricks, who is in a very similar situation last year when she was introduced to Pure. Meaning she had these 2 girls that were going into their teenage years, probably some of the most important years of our children's lives. And she had to make a choice about what she was going to do. She'd been working over 150 to 200 nights of the year she was spending in hotel rooms. She knew she was missing out on her girls, so she walked away from a corporate income and decided to go all in with Pure. It's changed her life. And I'm tearful because I think about those 2 stories, and I'm so sad for my one friend whose boys are now going into college, and I'm so happy for my other friend who's sitting here today and was one of our rising stars at our last event and has had an absolutely life-changing story in the last 12 months. And I want you to remember that when you're sharing with your friends. Remember what we have our hands on. I spent an hour this morning listening to interviews between Eric Worre, Richard Branson, Sir Richard Branson. For those of you who don't know, he has global recognition as probably being the king of entrepreneurship, okay? His net worth is $5 billion. I listened to Eric Worre interview Tony Robbins. You all know who Tony Robbins is, right? What you might not know is he owns 21 companies and actively runs 12 of them. Those companies bring in over $6 billion per year in revenue. They were talking about the brilliance of network marketing. I'm going to say that again. Those two men were talking about the brilliance of network marketing and why they love it. If you haven't listened to those interviews, I highly recommend you do. In fact, if you're sitting in this room, I highly recommend you take time every week to listen to people that you respect talking about the brilliance of our profession. You need to believe in it. Take notes. Go back to it. Remember when someone sneers at you and says, "Oh, you're doing that," you can go back to your notes and you can get built up internally. Tony repeatedly talked about the headaches of running a business, the supply chain, the quality control, human resources, all of that, and how we don't have to deal with that. They do all that for us. Do you think it's hard? Heck yeah, it's hard. I'm so glad I don't have to do that. That's not my job, that's their job. I'm so happy. That's why Tony Robbins says this is a brilliant business. But he was talking, this is one thing that I tuned in hard on. He was asked, why do you think there's not this positivity about network marketing around? Why do people have mixed emotions about it? And he said one of the reasons why he thinks there's this mixed feeling about it is you can sense when you're talking to someone what it is that they're all about, what it is that they're in it for, okay? Now, every single one of us more than likely has met someone, I'm not saying it's from this company, but from a company that's in the company for themselves and for the money they can make. And you know what it feels like? Heck, I feel that way when I go to buy a new car. I make Javier go with me because I can't handle it. I'm like, I don't want to deal with it. Like, it's just like they're exuding like, want my money, you want my money. I don't like that feeling. And Tony nailed it and said, people are smart. They can sense when all you care about is the money and you're not in it for a bigger purpose. So both of them were asked, what do you think is big? What do you think is important to be a successful entrepreneur? And Tony said, they have to have a sense, this is entrepreneurs around the world, they have to have a sense of wanting to serve something greater than themselves. Do we have that here? My goodness, we have that here. If you're here and you're just for yourself, then please leave the room, because you won't make it long. That's why I love this business. You can't hide who you are deep down inside. You can't hide it. It comes out sooner or later. And whoever those people are, they won't be here in 3 years. So if you don't want to leave now, you can leave later. I love that about this profession. If you've been here 10 years, you're not just about yourself. Richard Branson said, he's talking about entrepreneurism. If you can find a team of people who believe in what you're doing and are fully committed, you will be successful. What? Let me say that again. Richard Branson said, in regards to starting a business and entrepreneurism, if you can find a team of people who believe in what you are doing and can be fully committed, you will be successful. What? That's what we do. And hopefully, as you go through time, you're acquiring the skills to do better at finding those people. He also gave a piece of advice. He said, have a huge goal, a scary, impossible task goal. Mind you, Richard Branson is the one who's taking people to space. So clearly, he has impossible task goals. What is your impossible goal? Maybe it's speaking on this stage. Maybe it's going to the Amalfi Coast next spring. Maybe that's not big enough for you. Maybe your goal is to make $1 million. Maybe your goal is to have this as an income stream, but then 5 other income streams with real estate, apartment complexes. What is your big, scary goal? Tell someone, write it down. Here's the thing. Anybody can do this business. The other thing I spent a lot of time on this morning was Ark Jonak, who runs the Mastermind events, which I'm a huge fan of. He has a whole slideshow online with all the statistics of network marketing and how fabulous it is. In 2017, $189.6 billion in sales was done through this profession. $189.6 billion in sales in network marketing in 2017. $76 billion was paid out to network marketers in 2017. Holy moly, have you found the right profession? Here's the deal, you guys. I want this business to be here in decades. I want it to be here in 30 years. You ask either one of our boys, they're going to tell you what, and I'm not even kidding, you ask them. I'm going to do Pure, Mom. They're now 12 and 14. I'm going to do Pure, Mom. They're totally going to be running our businesses in the future, but only if we do it right. Companies that don't have products that work, they don't make it. They're gone. They might make it 10 years, but they don't make it past 10 years. Do our products work? I would like you to stand up if a product at our company has had a positive impact on your body or somebody in your family's body. Stand up. Now, it's the whole room. In case you guys don't know, somebody's listening, it's the whole room. Okay, you guys can sit down. You can't be dabbling. You can't, and if you do it, that's one of those two guys. What they said is you can't be dabbling in what you're doing. You got to be all in. You guys are all in. You're here this weekend. You spent money to get to these conferences. Earlier this year, I spent a couple $1,000s to take some of my team, and a bunch of them spent $1,000 to go to a generic GoPro network marketing event where thousands of women from all over the world flew in just to hear about how to do our business better. Don't let this be your only source of education, my friends. Do not let this be your only source. We'll fail you. We'll fail you because people fail us. That's why we have him. So we don't have to worry about him failing us, okay? But people will fail you. Look to other sources of education. Ask your upline, the Diamond Leaders, the LAC, who do they look to for their mentorship? We all go somewhere. Okay. Is this hard? Yes. I've been doing this 11 years, and I counted it up last week with my friend Trish Muhlstein, wherever you are, counted it up. I've worked with 15 VP of sales, CEOs, and presidents in 11 years. They're going to come and go. That's what happens. Pepsi CEOs go to Dr. Pepper CEOs. Dr. Pepper CEOs go to Coca-Cola. It's what happened? It's what happens. People come and people go. What are you going to do? See, it's hard to find a company that's made it 11 years, y'all. It's hard. Doesn't happen. It's not easy what we do, but you have to know that you know that you know that you're not going anywhere no matter what. Our company was acquired. I was in Mila. Mila was a company before it was with Pure. Did you guys know that? We were acquired in 2013. There were 23 diamonds. I'm the only one left. Why? Because it's freaking hard. And I will not quit. Because every single one of you stood up when I asked, have the products changed your lives? We have something magical and pure. Do you know that? It's God's business. It's not going anywhere. People will come and go. There will be bright, shiny objects. Oh, maybe that looks better. Oh, maybe that looks better. No. Treat it like a marriage. First 10 years in a marriage, holy moly. I would not rewind to that stage in my life for anything. Sorry, babe. But I'm going to tell you what, I'm 22 years in, and it's wonderful. Treat it like a marriage, and it'll pay you like a marriage does.
Isn't she great?
This is why we do what we do. It's for freedom. It's for financial freedom. It's for health freedom. But it's for the freedom for you to do what you want to do. You might not be able to live out of your business the first 3 to 5 years. That's okay. You're going to see people come in and make amazing amounts of money. Tons of them are in the front row right here. Whitney, Jason, Lindley and David, Kristen and Josh. Amazing income stories. You're going to see that happen, and that's going to make you go, oh, I'm supposed to do that. No, you're not. That's why you have to go to those other events to learn what's normal. What's normal is 3 to 5 years. That's what's normal. So thank you for coming, and your children I'm thanking you for your children, okay? For seeing the changes and the transitions that happen in every company and saying, I'm sticking. I'm not going anywhere because this company and these products change lives. The comp plan changes lives. And I'm going to end with the story, okay? I was watching an interview the other day, and there was a woman on stage, and she was talking about how this business has changed her life. And she'd been in the industry about 10 years. She wasn't one of the top earners or anything crazy, but her daughter went through a horrible breakup. She was 22 years old. She was living with her boyfriend in an apartment in a city far away, and she called her mom crying and said, Mom, I just broke up with him, and I have nothing. I have nothing. I don't know what to do. Mom left where she was, went to her daughter, got her a condo, filled the condo with sheets and plates and everything you need to start a new life. For 2 weeks, she stayed with her daughter. And on the last day, the daughter said, Mom, I don't know anybody else who has a parent who could do that for their daughter. Some might have the money, but they can't get the time off work. And others might be able to get off the time off work, but don't have the financial freedom. What we have here can change lives. And let me tell you, I'm seriously considering making new people on my team sign 30-page disclaimers like my friend had to do for her franchise. But if you sign those suckers and you stick and you do what I tell you to do and what your leader tells you to do, sky's the limit. Love you guys.